Okay, it's recording. Oh my God, we did it. Okay, so I'm back with Christine. Christine is at Guaranteed Rate with me. She is our renovation expert, also ADU expert now, which is very exciting. And so I thought it would be fun. I'm just going to ask her a bunch of renovation questions because you guys are always asking me, and I feel like I'm constantly failing you. And I'm like, go, you need to talk to an expert. So Christine's the expert. So if you guys are ever calling us looking for someone to help you with a renovation, Christine is who I will be sending you to. So it's always good to have a name and a face put together. Christine, how long have you been doing renovation loans?
I started doing renovation loans in 2004, so quite a
Oh my,
long time, almost 20 years.
so you've seen the progression of renovation loans over the last, what is that, 18 years as well?
Yes, definitely.
I got to do some out there. Okay, so let me ask you a couple of the questions that I get a lot. So the first one is, and I think there's a lot of mailers or advertisements that people see where it's like, hey, if you find a house and you don't really like the way it looks, we'll just do a renovation loan. Can we talk about how long it takes with a purchase to do a renovation loan and what the key factors are that can delay it?
Yeah, definitely. Time frames are 45 to 60 days if everything goes right. The key factors that is the reason for delay would be finding a general contractor and if you need architect plans. Those are the two things that can delay on these renovation loans.
So if I was doing, let's just start like basic. Let's say I go to a house and I'm like, the carpet's crap. I just want to do carpets, new paint. I want to add an air conditioner and maybe some solar. Is that something where I'm going to need a general contractor involved?
Definitely. General contractor would have to, like, if you're doing what you said, you might have a solar specialist, though. That's the only thing I'm thinking there, and then a general contractor for the rest. But if you're doing, oh, I'm going to do a new roof, and you get a roofer, and I'm going to do the plumbing, and you get a plumber, and then I'm going to do the kitchen, no, it's one GC that would have to pay the subs because they have to pull all the permits, and we can only pay one person on exceptions when you have specialty, like you're going to install a new pool. That's usually a pool company, or you're going to do a new septic, a new well. Those are specialties. So typically you'll have a specialty group for something like solar, the things we said. GC does everything else that has to do with the house.
Okay, so with a renovation loan, because the way it's marketed to consumers, and I'm not saying we market it that way, but it's always, they make it seem like you just get this fat check to do what you want with the house. And you're saying, no, you need a general contractor to lay out what you're going to do, estimate it, right? And then ultimately they'll be the one orchestrating it after closing and paying all the people doing the carpet or the paint. Like I can't just get money from you to paint the house myself, right?
Right, correct. You can be your own general contractor if you're in the trades. But if you're not in the trades and you just want to do it because you watch a lot of TV or YouTube stuff like, you and I were talking about, that won't work. Also, not every state requires licensed GCs. I want to say that, like, Indiana doesn't have that requirement, for example, but the contractor would have experience because people are like, oh, you don't need a GC license, so I don't need to be a GC.
I was going to ask that. I was going to be like, so in Indiana, can I build my own,
No,
renovate my own house? That'd be
no,
great.
no,
No.
you just you'll have someone who is called the contractor. And then what's interesting there, because most of them aren't licensed, then in Indiana, you're required to have plumbing license, HVAC, and roofing. So there's like 3 trades that have to be licensed. Those 3 licenses would need to be given when the payout happens to make sure that you used proper people. So interestingly enough, it's a little bit of paperwork on the payouts for the person in an unlicensed state, but you have probably more opportunity to find people because they're not taking these tests and, paying a lot of fees. I mean, that's really the thing of it. So if they're in a state where there is a general contractor license or a municipality requires it, we require it.
So I've got to ask you a question because this comes up a lot. So, I do a good amount of business in Texas now, and everybody wants a pool, which I
Yep.
get. If I lived in Texas, I'd want a pool too. can I do that with the renovation loan? What if I love the house, but I just want to add a pool? Is that
Yeah.
something that we
Yeah.
can do? Okay.
Definitely. We do a lot of pools, Arizona, Texas. I just did one in Florida. And look, the pools are ranging, 70,000, maybe more bare bone to like 200,000. Cause I've had someone do like a casita, like a pool house with a pool, but with the hot tub.
But
So yeah, that all can be done.
can you
And
just
again, remember we're going into first position though. Like, so if you're refinancing, we have to go in first position. So if you have a current loan, that gets paid off, and then you get all the money for the construction. You don't get the fat check. It goes into a construction escrow account, and then the contractor's paid. So you are not getting that big check that we keep talking about. That's
I
correct.
really want that check, Christine. Okay. So let's talk about that casita, because that's something, for some reason I would assume I couldn't have anything pretty or fluffy, which I think a casita is. So could you build, but I'm gonna make this complicated. You're gonna hate
Okay.
me. So I'm buying a house in Texas. I've got a great lot. You're gonna help me finance the pool. We're
Okay.
also, so I'm gonna have a GC. I'm gonna do some hardscape, right?
Mhm.
I want a waterfall. Okay. I'm bougie. Like it's going to be expensive. And then pool house. Cause I was going casita like exposed, but like an actual pool house. Could I do a pool house with like a
Yeah.
kitchen and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can, as long as the value supports it. And what I'm saying is, if you have a house that's 300,000 and you're going to build a $200,000 pool, but nothing in the neighborhood would support that, then that's your problem. But if you're in an area in Arizona, most houses have a pool. If you don't have a pool, your house is valued much lower. If you want to add then, like you said, a walk-in area where it has a kitchen. And if you're going to do that, a lot of people, throw in a bathroom, that's okay. That's allowed, because then you're not trashing the house going in and out. That's fine.
Okay. So every time we talk, I start renovating my house. It's really dangerous. Okay. So the key thing to take away from that is that you can improve the house. You can do some great stuff like a pool. You could do the waterfall, but it's got to be able to support the value, which means that the amount that you owe on the house plus what you're putting into it isn't more than what it's worth.
Correct. Exactly.
I said that very confusingly, but if the gold toilets aren't, if there's no cost for them, there are no gold toilets.
Right.
Okay. So are you seeing people do rates, anyone who refinanced in 2020, 2021, I'm always telling them not to refinance again. The only into a product like this, the only exception I think would be like, if you have a $600,000 house, you have $100,000 that you owe and your rate's really great, but you want to do a $200,000 pool, and you're looking at a pool loan, because I've seen some of those can be pretty expensive, 7+%.
Right.
It would make more sense to move into one of these products and just do the whole amount. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, definitely. And I think too, when you're doing, some places will give you like private loan, we'll finance it for you like at 10% or 8%, but you only have 5 years to pay it back. That payment is astronomical. It's also not a tax deduction. So I get that. Yeah. If you have 50 or 100,000 on your loan and you're at 2% or 3%, might be a little painful. The rates today are around 6% on that. But now you have a tax write-off that you possibly have. I mean, I'm not going to say, we're not tax experts, but you may have a benefit of that. So you just have to check what's the benefit, or is that payment on 5 years at 200,000, 3,000 a month, and you can't afford it. Yeah. We can put it into a 30-year term, 15-year term. We definitely will make it where it will work for the client in terms of affordability.
Okay. But I think we can both agree that if someone owed $600,000 on their house and it was worth $1 million and they wanted to spend $25K on a bathroom, this is the wrong product.
No, this is completely the wrong product. You would get a private loan or, something like that, or do a credit card at 0%, do something. But yeah, and I get that, Jennifer, all day long, and I don't do them. I mean, you just give them other options. You don't want to put someone in something they shouldn't, be in. So agree 100% on that.
Okay. So, I'm still stuck on the pool, but I'll get past it. Another question I get all the time is I get investors that want to buy multi-units that are trashed and they want to do a renovation loan to fix them up and then rent them out. Do we have a product for that?
Okay. Investors multi-unit, no.
Okay.
Investors multi-unit, no. We're going to say it 3 times. If you're investing,
you
you're not living there.
Multi-unit, no.
Multi-unit, no. And I keep saying multi-unit because
Yeah.
we can do single family. Okay.
Okay.
So if you're getting into this and you're, maybe in smaller areas that, prices are, you can pick up a nice house for 200 grand, but you want to paint it, do the hardwood floors, spruce it up a bit. Absolutely. You put down 25%, but we would give you all the money. So if you buy it for 200,000 and you want to put in, let's say just 100,000 and you're at 300,000, you put down 25%, but we're giving you back 100,000. So you're not using your own capital to do the rehab. We're giving you the capital. I will find out if we can do ADU units because you had asked me about that before the call. I think we can, but I will, confirm that with you. But I think that we can do ADU units. You're not going to be able to use any rent from the ADU unit, but you can use rent from the main property. So yeah, and you can use the rental income as well. So yeah, investor, single family, townhome, condo, all of that is allowed, just not multi-unit.
Okay. So on the investor portion, now we're echoing, or any portion at all, how trashed can the house be?
Completely. I mean, it
Like,
doesn't.
What if I need a new foundation?
Now, new foundation would be, you can repair foundation, but I can't do new foundation. But I can repair foundation. Like if we had one elderly couple that they would not sell to a builder. They only wanted to do someone who's going to raise their family. It had $60,000 of foundation. We fixed it, but we couldn't tear down the house. So, so you can fix foundation, but you can't knock it down and build new. That's new construction.
Okay. What if, I'm just asking all the kind of questions that I get. What if the house is horrible and I know that you're not going to let me knock it down, but what if I keep one wall and we redo the rest?
Yeah.
Is that still considered renovation?
No, that's too much. If you can keep the 4 walls and go from there, but they're not going to do that. That's just, again, it's more of a new construction.
Okay. What if the house has mold?
No problem. We can remediate mold. We've done, the worst mold case I saw was $22,000. You had to wear a special suit to even go into the house.
Is it black mold? Ooh.
Yeah, no, it's bad. So we can do mold. And also like there's issues like in Arizona with termites, or, in Chicago, houses have termites, a lot of, termite damage. You can have the beetles, there's certain, we can remediate all of that with the program. So
okay.
Infestations. I know that sounds crazy, but we deal with that.
What if the house is half burnt down?
I'm actually doing one right now. Now we cannot be in combination though with an insurance claim. Like, Jen, I'm getting some calls because of the fires out in California, but they're have an insurance claim, but now they want to do more. We can't do that. It's not going to work right, because their insurance companies controlling work. It's got to be total control for us. Now I had one guy that we did the loan for, I think it was your client actually, got the payout for it. And then we did renovation. So if you get the payout for it and then we do control the whole loan, he just brought that payout to closing. And then we did a massive renovation project for him.
He is the nicest guy in the world, by the way. Yeah. He was one of my first clients 100 years ago. Yeah.
So yeah, we can do fire damage, water damage. If you've had a flood or, water backup, unfortunately, some people don't have insurance. They never understood that. We've had damage there. We can remediate, some areas have basements, Jen, where we work and they get water intrusion. We can deal with all of that. I mean, the program really allows for anything, even making homes handicap accessible. Like let's say you have elderly parents and you have to do some things. We can do that. You can build garages. You can do hardscape, landscape, like you were saying. Anything's really allowed, pools, casitas, ADU units. We keep talking about this program is like limitless. Just people don't know about it. They're not educated about it. In markets where it's tough, where you got to close quick, you and I keep talking about that. They're not going to have that time. we close it, and then we refinance into renovation.
Yeah. And I mean, and sometimes that can be a nice way to handle it because there are certain markets where you're going to need to close in 30 days or less. And getting to be able to move into that house, really see what you want to fix, really like listen to the sounds at night can be great. But if the house is trashed, they're not going to be able to finance it any other way. And I think that's, another great place for renovation. I think if the seller's patient, because some sellers want to stay in their houses for a couple months, or if the house is trashed and they have no choice, or you move in if you have to do the quick purchase and then you take your time to get the plans that you want. I mean, picking tile. Well, you've renovated your house. Like, have you renovated both of your properties? Or
I've done a couple renovations for sure. I just finished the one. I'm in my house in Indiana, as you and I were talking about, and yes, we renovated it. Extensive renovation. So it's more about too, when you're saying that if you buy the home and we do have to do a refi, you're buying at the lower amount and then you're taking your time to make sure you get exactly what you want too. Like on a purchase, it can be a little bit quick, to do it all. We do it because some people, the negative of refinancing is you're going to pay closing costs twice. And in certain states, you don't want to do that. Like New York's super expensive, Florida's super expensive. If we can do it on the purchase, that's ideal. But if we can't, and we do the refi, there are some benefits doing it that way. So we'll work with the consumer on whatever they need, Jen. Of course.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, and something for people to know, like Christine's not going to help you pick out your tile or your baseboards or the right color white. And as someone who's renovated every flipping house against their will, right? I always think I'm buying turnkey homes. They're never turnkey. That stuff can take time. It took me like 3 months to pick out the tile in my bathroom. Like I looked at it, I changed my mind. So it could be a good, and especially since rates are higher right now, in general, I don't think it's as big of a, I would probably do the purchase and then take my sweet time and then, get the house that I want by renovating it.
Yeah, it can be done either way. Again, some people where closing costs are expensive, we don't do that. Just depends.
Maryland's bad too. And New York is brutal. Okay. And then another question for you. Oh, it was useful. And I think I lost it. Oh, loan limits. So this is not, if you guys want to do this with $2-3 million, it's not a limitless check. Even if you're in that $2 to $3 million range, the programs that we've been talking about are more FHA or Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, home style. What's the other one called? Home style.
No, the Freddie Choice and Fannie Home Style. And we go to the loan limits of the county. So if you're in, Massachusetts, Hawaii, California, the loan limits are much, much higher there. So just, again, reach out. And if we can't do it, I'll find you someone who can. We're here to help, your viewers. If they need help, we will try to get them to the right place. That's important too.
You're going to need to get Calendly if you don't have it yet, because we need to put a link in so that people can schedule a call with you to talk about their questions on this. So that's my pressure to you. I'll have all your information. If you guys have questions about construction, renovation, drop a note in the comments. I'll have all of Christine's contact information. As I've told you guys a million times, I don't do renovation, but I know the best woman in the country who does. So we will have all that information for you. Any parting words before we go? Anything you think people need to know that's just critical?
I just think that the knowledge of the program is lacking and that people look at homes and don't think they can get them. And one thing we didn't talk about, down payment can be as low as 3%. So you're looking at really, people don't know that. They look at outdated homes and think, okay, I got to put down 5%, then I need all this, my own money. The down payment's as little as 3%. And I've given people $200,000, with $10,000 down. It's pretty amazing. So wow. That's my parting words, is that educate yourself, call us. We will walk you through it. We'll show you numbers, talk money, and make sure that it's affordable. Those are the things that I'd like to focus on. And
you never charge people to talk to them about that. I think people need to understand that. They think we all are going to charge them.
No, I take so many calls, I probably field over 200 calls a month, about reno, and it's okay. People want idea, you may have an idea and then you might be like, okay, that is not affordable, or I can't do this in my county. It's okay. We're just here to educate and some people then turn it into, being able to go forward and build an ADU or do a nice home renovation. We do additions. I don't think we even talked about that, Jen. If you're in your own home and now all of a sudden you have 2 kids and you know how this market's gone crazy and you're like, I can't even afford it. I'm doing a lot of refinances, adding to people's homes that don't want to move, enjoy where they're at. They have their babysitters, they have their schools. You can do this for additions, adding to the home, expanding. So those are some parting things too that we haven't discussed. Hopefully that'll help.
We're going to have to dig into more of this because as we sit here, I'm like, oh my God, we didn't do VA renovation. So I will be calling you
Next
back.
time. Okay. No,
Okay.
we can get into all that for sure.
So if you guys have questions, reach out. And then Christine's licensed in 43 states, so she can help you pretty much everywhere.
Yep.
Almost there. Okay.
All right. Thanks. Have a great one.
Bye.